What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. And on this video, I'll be taking you through my very own team selection for the upcoming Game Week 36. So it's crazy to think that this is the third last team selection of the season. So hopefully in this one we can go over some transfer plans that hopefully boost us up the ranks and get us those final green arrows. I think that's basically everyone's two strategies at the moment. You're either holding rank. If you guys are happy with your rank, you're just trying to make sure that it's where you end the season on. Or you like myself, and with nothing much more to play for, you're just hoping the green arrows are as big as possible for these last 3 game weeks. So in this team selection, I'll be kind of combining it with Ultimate Guide. I'll be going over the projected goals, predicted clean sheets, and that's going to hopefully make our decisions for Game Week 36 slightly easier. Before that, I'll be taking a quick look at how Game Week 35 ended. I still had 3 Crystal Palace players still to feature, and luckily one of them was Eze that secured the green arrow. So after that quick recap, I'll be jumping into all the goodness for Game Week 36. So that's something you guys are interested in. Sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So going over a quick review of how Game Week 35 concluded. As you guys can see on the right hand side, the red has changed to green, and we looked at about a 10k green arrow to 40k. So that was thanks to total points of 56, and as mentioned, one of the 3 players left to feature was going to be Eze, and even though he got a massive double-digit return of 10 points, this could have been even bigger. Hit the crossbar quite late into the fixture that would have actually been a SAR assist, and there were a few other assists and goal chances that unfortunately didn't come about in Game Week 35. So at least Eze managed to get us something, as well as Nottingham Forest conceding, as well as Crystal Palace also conceding. Just wish Mateta and Sarr gave us a few more attacking returns that would have made this green even bigger. Now in terms of the rest of the team, we also had Neco Williams on the bench. He did get an assist, which is quite nice to see, as we'll be playing him probably from now to the end of the season. Otherwise, the benching order was correct, with Murphy sub before 60 minutes and Dan Burn conceding. Even though Verbruggen got 3 points, Martinez outperformed him with the 9-pointer. A little bit of luck there, but I'm glad I went for the Aston Villa goalkeeper. Our backline unfortunately wasn't the same, but Guardiola with the 8-pointer bonus points central there for the Man City centre-back, but he did play left back late into that fixture. There was no Arsenal clean sheet though. Kirill plus Saliba both lost the clean sheet, and a little bit of a surprising loss to Bournemouth at home. Then our midfield department, not everything was as good as Eze. However, we did have kind of a pattern: 2-10, Salah and Mbumo our captain. That was only an assist though in 4 Brentford goals. So probably should have gone for someone up front like an Isaac for his 9-pointer, but Mumush was the popular Kamsi option and he actually blanked. If you guys did go for the Kevin De Bruyne captain, you probably were the winners of Game Week 35. I was quite happy though that we still managed to keep a green arrow after not the best start. So now that the game week has concluded, in the comments down below, let me know where that overall rank is currently sitting. With 3 game weeks left of the FPL season, we have 1 free transfer and a big upgrade to make with 4.1 million. So before we go over my team selection, my transfer plan, let's go over the clean sheet projections and also predicted goals, as this might kind of change the decisions quite a bit. So from the SpreadX data, we're going to be going over the predicted clean sheets. As always, we're going over the same color metrics as FPL. That's green to grey to pink to maroon. Now the best fixture to target this week is going to be that Nottingham Forest 46%, as they face Leicester, who are already relegated. Now Leicester did actually score a goal, I think for the first time in quite a few game weeks, but I'm expecting the Nottingham Forest defense to jump back on those clean sheets in Game Week 36. Otherwise, also high percentages here for Man City at 42%, and then a little bit of a drop off with Fulham as well as Brentford. Now the 5th team, or the 5th best clean sheet projections, actually quite a bit of a drop off to United at 28%, and we might see some rotation this weekend after the Europa League semi-final. We do have a couple of fixtures here and there that might be slightly boring. I don't exactly know if Wolves Brighton will be as boring as they are predicting, but lots of goals are expected in the Spurs Crystal Palace game. The matchups this week though are a bit average unless you are facing a newly promoted team, and obviously Everton's attacking threat isn't that great at the moment. So if you guys are looking for potential benching dilemmas, I would probably say it revolves around those Arsenal assets, and they don't have a great projection here, only 18%. So it just seems like the odds are favouring Liverpool to bounce back from that Chelsea loss as 27% isn't too shabby. Now let's go on to the more exciting sort of attacking numbers, predicted goals or projected goals, and we do have some fairly high scoring games this week. Number 1 is going to be Man City at 2.95% against Southampton. So if you guys have doubled up on Mamush and Kevin De Bruyne, you're probably looking quite happy. The biggest thing about Game Week 36 might be a shake-up potentially if Erling Haaland is guaranteed to start. I don't know if we'll get that information about Pep in the press conference, but we might get some early team sheet news. Otherwise, Nottingham Forest and Brentford are also looking pretty good, around 2.2 predicted goals, and that's how I was looking to actually bring in Chris Wood this game week. A little bit of a drop off then for Isaac and also United at 1.8 and 1.7 respectively. I've seen a lot of people considering selling Isaac, but I probably would just keep him. The projections and the stats both look pretty good. Teams to avoid, it's almost the inverse of the clean sheets, Everton, the newly promoted squads, as well as West Ham. And now we can see some of these more kind of boring predicted fixtures. Wolves, Brighton versus Spurs, Crystal Palace, slightly more goals. I won't lie, super happy to see that Crystal Palace are at 1.7 projected goals. Liverpool also coming in at 1.6, which is why you guys can kind of see that Arsenal predicted to concede. I would think though that there might be more goals in this one, as both teams don't have much to play for. One thing definitely standing out though is the potential punt on Kevin De Bruyne if he is going to start could come in clutch, as Man City are quite clearly the best goal scorers. Might be quite hard to captain someone like Mamush though with Erling Haaland back on the bench, but maybe when he gets subbed he's already secured the double-digit return. You guys can let me know what fixture you think will have the most goals in it or which team scores the most goals. I'd probably say Man City's about right. But now let's go on to my team selection for upcoming Game Week 36. No transfers made at the moment, still one free transfer and 4.1 in the bank. I just wanted to showcase the team at the moment. I don't have to necessarily make a transfer, but with only 3 weeks left of the game weeks, I think I should be a little bit aggressive. Now the bench this week kind of picks itself. Yet again, I'll be benching the Newcastle assets. One has been promoted though, it's going to be Dan Burn off the bench and Saliba back on. So yes, I've decided to bench my Arsenal assets this week against Liverpool, and that just comes from the bad projections of clean sheets that you would have just seen. I'm still going to bench Murphy though against Chelsea. I just prefer my other attackers, and there's a little bit of a tough debate for my goalkeeper, Verbruggen versus Martinez. I mentioned this in the transfer plan, but I'm just kind of going for Aston Villa once again, as they have something to play for. The top 5 Champions League spots are pretty highly contested. I'm just hoping that kind of motivates them slightly more. I do think Wolves is a better fixture obviously than Bournemouth is, but I can see that Brighton Wolves game being quite open. I am kind of going against the odds though. The odds are saying to just start Verbruggen, so this might change come that Game Week 36 deadline. Otherwise our backline will be Guardiola with Southampton. That's a great fixture. As mentioned, started left back towards the end of the fixture. I'm just hoping that he plays there as he is slightly more attacking than centre back. Then Dan Burn, as mentioned, off the bench against Chelsea at home. Just prefer this to Liverpool away. I won't lie though, I'm not expecting a clean sheet. Then finally Neco Williams, I won't be benching him for his assists anymore. Leicester at home, hopefully he gets one and some defensive returns. Then our midfield department, Salah for Arsenal, not enough to captain him. I still feel like it's a little bit of a tougher game. And Arsenal currently might be in a top 5 race if they don't pick up some points. Salah is however on for those record-breaking season stats, and I'm pretty sure he should get something against Arsenal at home. Then our Crystal Palace double up of Eze, so I'm going to be starting them for that Spurs fixture, as there might be a rotation like United after their Europa games. I saw enough from both players against Nottingham Forest to actually start them this week. Even though Saar didn't score or assist, he looked pretty lively. So fingers crossed this game will be quite open. Spurs don't have a great chance of a predicted clean sheet, and I'm pretty sure both these two players should be starting, as the FA Cup final is only in 1 week's time. Then the final midfielder and the armband taker is going to be Mbumo against Ipswich. I think this week is slightly easier to go from with the armband. I don't own Kevin De Bruyne. If you guys do, think it might be slightly tougher if he is projected to start, but because I don't own the Ginger Prince, Mbumo is going to be my man. Then up front, keeping Isaac probably against Chelsea, I still feel like there's a good chance of scoring, and as mentioned, the top 5 race is quite highly contested. I will probably say Mateta at the moment in terms of my attackers is probably the weakest option, and that's just because even though Erling Haaland's back, Mamush still has Southampton away. I don't think that Erling Haaland is fit enough to start this one, and therefore I think the Egyptian should be given at least a few minutes, and against a relegated team, I think that's going to be enough. So the attack does look pretty decent. As mentioned, I don't have to necessarily make a transfer, but I think I want to be quite aggressive with my attacking transfers from now to the end of the season. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below about the move I might potentially make. Maybe your suggestion's better than my current plan. So I mentioned this in the transfer plan video, but almost the boring option I could take is going to be taking out Dan Burn for another defender, and that could be someone like a Ruben Diaz or Milinkovic. Now both these two players have great fixtures coming up, probably prefer Nottingham Forest slightly as there might not be rotation in their backline. And the reason I would be losing Dan Burn instead of a Kibia is they do have Southampton in game week 38. So yes, this is going to be the kind of boring move. I'm just a little bit uncertain now with Mateta's minutes, and that's why he's probably the popular transfer out. Now the two options I'm looking for Mateta as my replacement is going to be Visa or Chris Wood. Both have great fixtures. Wood is on penalties, but Visa does look better. From a stats point of view, from an overall attacking point of view, it just seems like Nottingham Forest are going slightly down, whereas Brentford have seen some improvement over the last few game weeks. Now even though Mateta does have Spurs, what you guys have to consider is that now that we don't have a double game week 36, the game week 37 fixture will be taking place a few days after the FA Cup final. If I'm correct here, Crystal Palace have 3 rest days after the final, and therefore I'm pretty certain that Nketiah will be starting against Wolves at home. Now I might be wrong there, but even if I'm not, Liverpool in game week 38 isn't too great, and that's because Liverpool will be getting the trophy at home, so I'm pretty sure they won't want to lose it. So I think it's a little bit of a risk to actually keep Mateta over these next few weeks, but what I would argue is I do feel like Spurs is still an okay fixture. I just feel like if I was going to jump off, now's the time. Ipswich away for Visa and Leicester at home for Chris Wood. Just feel like it's the appropriate time to make the switch. Now next week I'll probably be taking out Saul Eze depending on the situation, but at the moment with these early subs, I feel like Mateta is the no-brainer. Now in terms of the replacement, as mentioned throughout this season, I'm probably the biggest Chris Wood hater, but it might be time for a redemption arc for the New Zealander. I do feel like he probably has the better fixtures overall in the next 3, and also a bit more to play for as Forest are chasing the Champions League. But I keep on coming back to Visa. Since I'm captaining Mbumo against Ipswich, I kind of hope that Brentford do well, and therefore Visa probably will be involved in the attacking returns in this fixture. After that, Fulham also haven't been great, and then Wolves is a pretty okay fixture. I guess Chris Wood is on penalties, which might sway things. I would probably say though at the moment I'm like 60-40 towards Visa, but this could change come that deadline. You guys let me know what transfers you guys are making for this upcoming week. Hopefully they're going to be quite aggressive, as you guys want to make those green arrows even bigger with 3 weeks left. We do have the Arsenal game coming up tonight, but as you've seen, I'm benching my Arsenal players. And just a reminder, there's going to be no double game week 36, and that was confirmed a few days ago. So just 3 boring weeks. I'm going to try and make it as non-boring as possible with these videos. So make sure that you guys subscribe for the last 3 weeks of information. But this is basically everything, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please like it and subscribe if you have subscribed yet. Tons of content still to come up. Deadline stream coming up on Saturday, 1 hour before the deadline. Make sure your notifications are on so that you get notified when I do go live. But for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.